Kurt, thank you so much for joining us. It's great to have you here.
It's a pleasure.
Microsoft rejiggered its sales force a few months ago. How did the changes help Microsoft sell more cloud software?
Well, I think a lot of what we've done is really focused on where the opportunities are and where customers need our help to make the transition. That's been a very strong piece. There's a piece to invest in technical skills among our sellers as well. If you think about the cloud transition, there's a lot of helping customers through what it means for them in particular. And so getting the right skills in the right places, I think, is the biggest thing that transition's been all about.
AWS is so far in the lead. What steps are you taking to win Azure customers?
Well, I actually think our offering is super strong across the board. Whether you start at the Azure layer, you think about our differentiation in terms of having a hybrid approach, where you can transition to the cloud as you want to transition, but have on-premises capabilities as well. And then we're working at all levels in the stack, whether it's at the OS level, it's at the database level, it's things like AI on top, and helping people at all levels, productivity, figuring out how Office 365 integrates in with our Azure offering. I think what we're starting to hear more and more from customers is they're thinking about, one, the relationship they have with Microsoft, and that whole broad suite of capabilities that they can go get by going to Azure.
I'm curious how you see, the pie being divided differently in the future. I mean, how do you avoid Amazon becoming the default choice for customers?
Well, I think we're doing very well in the market right now, and so I think what you're seeing playing out is there's not going to be a default choice per se, that people are going to look at that and what the particular opportunities are for the particular workloads they'll move, what the value proposition is for us versus Amazon versus others. I don't think we're going to get to a place where any one vendor is that default choice. I think you're going to have strength in the market with the people that seem to be emerging now.
What are some areas that you think Azure will be bigger and faster in the future than Amazon and the other players?
I think we will be stronger in terms of our hybrid capabilities. I think in terms of our database offerings, think of all the people who use SQL on premises today, and some of the announcements we've made, both in terms of being able to surge to the cloud in terms of your database capabilities, but also super easy movement to the cloud. So at the database layer, I think we'll be stronger. I think our AI capabilities and our cognitive services, so that value added as an applications environment, but also when you think about all the data that's in Office 365, all the productivity data, who I'm meeting with, who I'm talking to, how do I, as either a third-party developer or as somebody who uses Office 365, leverage that data to build rich, interesting applications as well.
I did a panel with 3 investors on stage, and they all said they think AR and VR is overhyped, that it's not growing as big and as fast as people thought. These are 2 big areas that Microsoft is putting a bet on.
Absolutely.
How do you respond to that? Do you think it's overhyped?
I think that it is going to emerge over a period of time. I think we're seeing some early wins, particularly in the industrial space, of people using HoloLens. I think we're seeing a lot of developer interest in the capabilities we're building into Windows. But I think in any of these technologies, there's that period where there's a lot of hype coming in, and then there's a building of the actual use cases and a building of excitement. And I think there's no doubt that there's that building period that we're in today. I think it's also a great opportunity for us, because if you believe in the vision and you believe that that's important over the long run, those are the periods of time where you say, I'm doubling down, I'm going to be really strong in this area, and it gives you that time to build a super rich offering.
So when do you think mixed reality will be everyone's reality? Or will it?
I think mixed reality. I think you will start to see augmentation of your reality in the next several years. I think you'll be cases like HoloLens, but also just the ability, there's a bunch of focus around this notion that you can show you put your phone up and see the combination of a scene that really exists in front of you with an augmentation. I think those kinds of scenarios are going to emerge very soon.
President Obama asked you to oversee healthcare.gov and the rollout of that. What's it like watching all of the efforts that the Trump administration is taking to roll that back?
On a personal level, it's very difficult to watch. Again, on a personal basis, I believe that people have a right to health care, to affordable health care. I think the actual Obamacare or the ACA is a strong foundation for building that capability to deliver health care to all citizens of the United States. So again, this is a personal point of view. It's hard for me to watch.
Before you ran healthcare.gov, you ran Microsoft Office.
Yes.
And I'm curious how you think productivity is going to be different in the next, let's say, 1 to 5 years. How will the way I work change?
Well, I think in a lot of ways it'll change by everything just being a lot more seamless and easier to do. So for instance, think about how Teams work. We've done a lot with Microsoft Teams to say there's so many different channels in the way you communicate, but a team acts as a single unit. And so how do you bring everything together, whether I'm chatting with somebody, doing email, whether I'm collaborating in a document, bring all that together into one place for the very first time, really. I think is a huge opportunity. I've worked in collaboration for so long, and it's always been, well, we've got this offering and this offering, but how do they really finally come together? I think you're going to find that place where people intuitively come to a team site, and all the different ways that they want to communicate and work together are just there. I think that's probably the biggest thing.
You've got upstarts like Slack, like Dropbox, like Atlassian. You've got Salesforce buying Quip. Do you see consolidation in this space? Do you see more competition?
I think the industry always goes through a point where there's a lot, whenever people have a germ of an idea and they go explore that idea, there's always a kind of bifurcation of the industry into different places. I think there's also a natural coming together that happens. I think we're in a place where actually there's a little of both going on. There's some domains where it's actually still spinning off, but then there's a natural consolidation. I think places where there's a necessary scale economy or the ability for people to standardize on a single offering, I think is a key place where things do come together. I think in collaboration space, there's only so much of a period of time before big customers in particular say, I've got so many different offerings. How do those come together into a single place where I can actually deploy it across my enterprise?
Is this an area you think that Microsoft might acquire?
We always look at people to acquire. I think we always look in the collaboration space. My team in corporate strategy looks at this on a constant basis. I think there's always that opportunity. I mean, we have a very large acquisition in LinkedIn that's going very well right now, but we're always on the lookout for what might actually help either bridge us into a new space or consolidate and strengthen our opportunities.
And do you worry about the upstarts?
We look very closely at everything going on in the industry. I wouldn't say that, you always have to have a healthy amount of worry about anything going on outside of your domain. And I think we have that, but we kind of combine it with what are they really telling us by what they're doing? What are customers saying about that? And if we were to play things forward, how do we think things will emerge and develop? And those are the ones we look at over the longer run.